Hello everyone, and welcome back. In the same vein as the weapon mastery concept that I presented a while back, today I wanted to do something a little bit more straightforward and talk about some new DRG achievement ideas. Some of these are effectively building off of existing achievement systems and extrapolating on them further, and some are entirely new to sort of catch the game up with the content that's been added since new achievements were added to the game, which if I'm not mistaken was update 32. So before we get into my new ideas, let's go ahead and go over the existing achievements in the game and how I would roughly divide them up. If you didn't know, before I got heavily into DRG, my main focus when it came to playing games was achievement hunting games on Steam. So I've got a little bit of experience with some extremely difficult, well-rounded, and also less impressive 100% achievement games. And that's also why I started playing DRG in the first place, is because it looked like a fun game and I was interested in getting the achievements. But I will say that DRG doesn't really do the greatest job of having a well-rounded variety of achievements, and the way I visualize this is 4 distinct areas in which you can place achievements into in any game. The 4 categories I loosely define achievements into are freebies, or ones that you'll just get naturally while progressing the game to a natural stopping point. So in a story-based game, every chapter gives you an achievement. Those are considered freebies, because of course, even if you don't care about achievements, you're still gonna beat the game. That's the natural progression. Next, we have challenge. These are any sort of achievement that you can read and say, okay, maybe I need to be better at the game, or I need to do something that's difficult, or this might take me multiple tries. This is extremely vague, of course. Different games have different challenges, but the ones in DRG are pretty few and far between. Next, we have grind achievements. Achievements that you can look at and say, okay, I'm definitely skilled enough, or I know a way to get to this achievement. It's just gonna take me quite a bit of time to do. Maybe it could be done faster or slower based on your skill, but it's knowing that something is well within your reach and it's just a matter of time to do it. DRG has quite a few of these. And the last category we have is unique. They're somewhere in between challenge and freebie. They're stuff that you can read and understand how to do it, but it will make you go out of your way and play the game in a different way, and it might also take you a little bit of time to complete it. So in a way, it kind of sits in between all 3 categories, and these are the achievements that I find have the potential to be the best in most games. I fully understand that some people will disagree with this, but my rough breakdown of how the achievements are divided in Deep Rock Galactic is 36 freebies, 7 challenges, and then 13 of both the unique and grind related achievements. Like I alluded to before, I don't think DRG has a great balance of achievements in that there's not a lot that most people I think would consider very challenging that requires them to fail things multiple times. And the grind achievements are far too few in number for how much time they take. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my new achievement ideas. First of all, I have 5 new achievements for every class. Some of them are the same across all classes, but a few of them are unique. So let's go ahead and start with the gunner. One of the main things I wanted to reach for was involving overclocks in achievements. First of all, we have balanced bearings. This would be for playing a mission with gunner on any difficulty while having both of your weapons equipped with balanced overclocks. And in that same vein, we have warped barrels, which would be unstable overclocks on both of your weapons. Just to be completely clandestine and get it out of the way right now, I'm not in any way attached to the values or having any of these achievements be immediately or easily obtainable, so we could make them much longer. For example, right now I'm phrasing these as beat a mission with both balanced or both unstable overclocks, but in reality, would you prefer to have it be 10 or 20 or 30? That's entirely up for personal interpretation, but I figured we'd start on the low end and not make every achievement an extreme slog. And we can, if it feels appropriate and if the devs want to take any guidance from this video, then obviously they will tune it to what they feel is appropriate. Moving on, we have Raining Hell, which would be for shooting 500 bullets without leaving a zipline. A common theme I'm going for here as well is guiding players towards new and interesting playstyles, or maybe teaching them a little bit of technical information based off of achievements. A new player that's interested in achievements might see, oh, I can get an achievement for shooting 500 of my minigun bullets while being on this zipline, but that might also lead them to the logical extrapolation that, oh, I can shoot a lot of things while I'm hanging up here on this zip line. I know that zip camping is a pretty unpopular strategy in higher difficulties, but I think it's a cool moment of realization for newer players, and this achievement guiding them towards that could be a cool moment of discovery. Next, we have Got You Covered, which would be just for simply shielding 200 teammates in total across all of your missions. And the last one for Gunner, Chew Through This, which is for taking no health damage for the entire duration of a mission. Now, before you get up in arms and say this is far too difficult, keep in mind that the way that I'm projecting this achievement right now is not indicative of hazard level. You could play Hazard 1 and just be really careful of fall damage while trying to get this achievement. Or you could make it a challenger for yourself and try to do it on Hazard 3, 4, or 5. That's one of the big things I'm aiming for when it comes to crafting these achievements, is not to make them obscenely difficult or just absolutely unreachable for anyone less skilled than a player with 2,000 hours. I don't want to gate things in that way, I just want to make it drive a more interesting playstyle. Next up we have Scout. In the same way as Gunner, he would have both a balanced and an unstable overclock based achievement. Next we have Strong Back, which would be for getting 10 revives across all of your teammates in a single mission or deep dive. Scout is often seen as the medic class, especially early on in the game, so I think leaning into that with an achievement would be a cool idea and make new players feel like they really are carrying their team. Then we have Not Your Damn Mule for depositing 10,000 minerals in total. And finally, the same as Gunner, we have Cave Wind, completing a mission without taking any damage. The Boy Driller's up next with Stable Mentality and Less Stable Mentality for the balanced and unstable overclock achievements. Then, an achievement for doing what you were intended to do with your satchel charge. Then we have Blighted Apocalypse for applying 10,000 status effects to enemies across all of your missions. And then, just like the others, Whose Blood Is That for completing a mission without losing any health. And last but not least, we have Engineer with Balanced Barricade and Unconventional Defense for the balanced and unstable overclocks. In classic NG fashion, we have Numbers Don't Lie, which is getting double the kills of the rest of your team combined. This is going to be a lot easier than you think it would be, and if nothing else, you could always just boost it with a friend. For the last of the unique achievements, we have Not So Short Stack for placing 1,000 platforms, and the last of the no damage achievements, Clean Hands, for doing any mission as Engineer without taking any damage. Now, we have achievements in the game already for completing missions in a row on a certain difficulty, say doing 3 Hazard 3s or 5 Hazard 5s, but we don't actually have any mission-specific achievements for playing on certain difficulties. While personally I don't think it's unreasonable to add a Hazard 3 or Hazard 4 achievement to all the mission types as well, I understand that for some people that would pollute the existing achievement list and may seem undesirable. Like I said, I don't completely disagree with it, and also it would expand the runtime of this video, so for this purpose we're just going to go over Hazard 5 achievements for each mission type. First we have Obtainium for completing a Hazard 5 Morkite mining, Hell's Hen House for doing a Hazard 5 egg mission, Smash and Grab for a Hazard 5 point extraction, Finders Keepers for salvage on Hazard 5, Gods of What Land for killing dreadnoughts, once again on Hazard 5, Oil and Blood for a Haz 5 refinery, Over My Dead Body for protecting Doretta on Hazard 5, and finally, So Long Take Care for a Hazard 5 industrial sabotage, probably the hardest of the bunch. And continuing on the topic of difficulty, we have Roll with the Punches for completing 10 missions with randomizer affecting your character, Tabula Rock and Stone for completing a Hazard 5 with no upgrades equipped, I Was Warned for completing 5 double warning missions. Now to get into some of the more event and situational based achievements. Let's start with some of the first events that were added to the game since there haven't been any more achievements. Less Lost Now for your first 10 lost packs, Crate Cracker for 10 cargo crates, Bulbs and Bullets for dispatching your first Tyrant Weed, Stake Your Claim for eliminating an enemy prospector, Signal Jammer for taking a rival router offline, Terminated for beating a nemesis, Crypto Mining for destroying a data deposit and taking its core, What Is This for infusing your first Matrix core, and the next few will be in that same vein, machine events. Tower of Babel for destroying 5 Omen Towers, Met on the Grinder for 5 Cursite Grinders, Good Ebo Knight for 5 pickaxe sprinklers, and TNT tossing for 5 tritolite crystals. Now getting into Season 3 and 4 stuff, we have Heart Stealer for breaking open your first meteor, Spike Unplanted for cleansing your first 5 plague spikes, Stop the Spread for defeating the Corruptor, and Ain't It Cute for cracking open 10 mini meteors. Now for some promotions. These I'm a little on the fence about. Like I said at the beginning, getting all 4 characters to gold takes a very, very long amount of time. And it's entirely up to you whether you think it's reasonable or not to base achievements around people getting all the way up to maximum legendary. I can only go based off of my own opinion. I personally think it is just on the edge of reasonability to ask players to go all the way to level 600. In other games, asking me to play an equivalent amount of time to get all the achievements I would deem unreasonable. And it's purely just based off of my opinion that I find DRG to be an extremely enjoyable game in spite of its flaws these days, and I do think it is justifiable to ask the average to advanced time investment player to play up to that point. Remember that this isn't going in the game. It's entirely up to the developers whether or not they would want to expand the promotion achievements out to legendary and capped legendary. Like I said, I can see a very valid argument for why that shouldn't be the case, but I digress because I made the images anyways. First, we have Distinguished Dwarf for getting 1 dwarf to Plat 1, Elite Crew for getting all of your dwarves to Plat, Diamond for getting your first dwarf to Diamond, Cover Us in Diamonds for getting your entire team up to Diamond, A Legend is Born for getting your first legendary ranked dwarf, Mythic Heroes for getting the entire team caught up to Legendary, Transcendent Titan for getting your first Legendary 3, and Nothing Left to Prove for getting all classes to Legendary 3. The main reason that I even advocate for these to potentially be added at all is because there's no real reward for promoting beyond the first promotion, aside from the newly added cores and weapon overclocks. But I do think there should be some tangible reward for people that play all the way up to the soft level cap. Am I biased because I am someone who is well past that level cap? That's definitely a possibility, and I completely understand if you disagree. And finally, we'll go to the assorted and space rig based stuff. First, we have Potent Mixture for drinking every type of buff beer at least once, Binge Drinker for drinking 10 different beers in one trip to the Abyss Bar, Generous Patron for tipping Lloyd 100 credits, Slammer Dunk for getting the hammer over by the forge into the barrel hoop, and last but not least, we have Bounty Hunter for completing 10 of the daily objectives on the Season Pass. I came up with a few others that I just find a little too difficult, time-consuming, unreasonable, or goofy, or just countercourse to how the game plays naturally to actually, put my seal of approval on and say by name, but you can see those on screen now. But yeah, that's about all I got for you today. It took quite a bit of time to actually draft up all of these images and do my normal creative writing project to give them all a little bit of flavor, so I don't usually do calls to action, but I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. If you have any ideas for DRG achievements, I would love to hear from you in the comments section below. If you want to give me a little write-up about how they would be, or what the conditions would be to unlock them, or just give me some feedback on what I presented here, I'd love to hear it. Like I said, none of these are going in the game today. I understand that I'm seeing the game a certain way because I've played a lot of time, and some of these might look a lot less daunting to me than they may to you. So I'd love to hear from you in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Here's some 50 new DRG achievement ideas, and everyone's gonna be like, you can't add more achievements, then there won't be 69!